He is 13 years old. He calls himself Abu Hattab, and he plans to join Islamic State. They reach out online, social media feeding his ideas. Born in Syria, he was radicalized a year ago, learning to fight with another jihadi group. This is the story of how militants are seizing the next generation, building their army of the future. He insists on dressing like his heroes.
I like Islamic State because they pursue Sharia law and kill infidels as Allah ordered. We must behead them. Soon I will go there as a soldier. Recently I told them my age, and now they contact me even more than before.
A lot of people would say, you're 13 years old, enjoy your childhood.
I don't want to play with friends. Allah told us to fight for the next life, for paradise. I used to go out to the seaside, but now I have taken the righteous path.
At home in southern Turkey, he and his mother lead a devout life. His father is largely absent, making her a stronger influence. She has clear sympathies for the militants, but denies she's brainwashed her young son.
Islamic State came to help the Syrian people, unlike the evil powers in the world. But I don't support all their ideas. I sent my son to train for jihad. Now I can't stop him if he wants to join the Islamic State. Let him become a future leader. I would not be sad if he were to kill Westerners.
If your son dies fighting for jihad, fighting for Islamic State, how will you feel?
I would be so happy.
The militants have recruited heavily among children, according to the UN. This video, called Cubs of the Islamic State, posted online. Other jihadi groups are using child soldiers too. Mohammed's younger brothers are fighting with the Al-Qaeda offshoot in Syria, Jabhat al-Nusra. This one is just 13.
I feel so bad that he's with them. He should be at school. But Al-Nusra gives children $100 a month to fight. I used to have fun with him. But now, when I told him Al-Nusra will destroy us, he said, "Shut up or I will kill you."
The Syrian children who joined these militant groups grew up in war, and much of their motivation must come from that experience. Their formative years have been blackened by hatred, their mindsets altered, their childhood stolen. The innocence of a generation is being destroyed, no longer seen as children, but as tools of war. Mark Lowen, BBC News, on the Turkey-Syria.
Wow. I mean, that was just an absolutely unbelievable story, that you're a 13-year-old child, folks, 13 years old, radicalized. And you also see the absence of a strong father presence. Now, that father presence could have gone two ways. That father presence could have gone in the fact where he was an ISIS supporter, a radicalist himself, and would have, basically talked to, in terms of his son doing what he's doing right now, would have encouraged him, would have put him into that situation, would have, I don't think by force, but he would have certainly encouraged him if the father was of the same, thought process and mentality in terms of that. Or we could have hoped that the father figure was in the house and was not part of the Islamist fundamentalist, would have been a father figure that would have been able to sway his son away from that life, away from that. And, when they talked about, when you saw in that video where he comes in and says he used to go out by the seashore and play with his friends. But what happened? And he's in Turkey. But somehow going online and going to those websites and getting engulfed, entrapped with the lure of paradise, with the lure of whatever they're selling out there, the BS that they're selling, the caliphate, the ultimate kingdom, the afterlife. A 13-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, they don't have the capacity. I mean, even adults don't sometimes have the rational capacity to understand what's happening. But like I said, is the mother says she's not really supportive of all the things that ISIS did, but they did come in on the Syrian side. And they did help give some of those people, money and stuff. Money is a coercive factor in this thing. And then what blew me away, well, there was two things in that thing that just completely blew me away, folks, completely, to the point of just contemplating and thinking that I've got children of my own. Can't even imagine them at that age. And they're older now, but I can't imagine them at that age becoming to the point that they'd want to go and, kill people and join a fighting force, an army. And the two things that struck out to me in that piece was number one, well, three pieces. Number one, when the journalist asked the boy there, and he's covered up in the ISIS garb. I mean, kids. Before I even get into that, kids here. What do we used to wear Superman costumes, Batman costumes, pretend we were Superman, Batman, the Mighty Thor, Spider-Man. Those were our superheroes, a force for good. And this child is putting on the black headdress of ISIS, Islamist, fundamentalist terrorists. Now, I know they're saying they're trying to fight the Assad regime and, fight the Syrian thing and fight for that thing. Okay, I can understand. But then when they're talking about, killing infidels and others, I mean, what does that include? And as I go to the point of what I want to talk about, the piece that really stuck out, that was one where he said, you're 13-year-olds, why don't you just do what, children should be doing out playing with your friends? No, I don't want to do that. All right. I used to do that, but then I learned that was wrong. And now I'm going to give my life to this. The other one was when he was talking to another young boy saying that his brother is off fighting. The guy was pulling the pin on the cannon, and that's 13-year-old too. And that's a brother, two brothers being separated. One is fighting, one's back there in Turkey. When he says, I can't even talk to my brother anymore. When I tell him that what he's doing is wrong, he says, I'm going to kill you. That's how indoctrinated he's become. That's how brainwashed he's become, that he would kill a family member who happens to be Muslim too. So now the Muslim person becomes an infidel as well, because you don't agree with the fundamentalist terrorist teachings that have been taken out of context from the Islamic scriptures or whatever. And these people have been brainwashed, indoctrinated into thinking that their form of the caliphate, their fanaticism of the religion is the only path. And then the other thing was when the mother was asked, what happens if your 13-year-old boy dies? And she basically said, if only that would be a blessing. And she bowed her head and she was actually sobbing and weeping and crying. I mean, that just blew me away, folks, blew me away. That a mother could think that way. And it's just unfortunate. I mean, this is happening in all parts of the world, folks. You see these videos out there of just, 6, 7, 8-year-olds out in Africa being, kidnapped and recruited for, those militias, that are out there and being taught to kill. Just crazy. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Anyways, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasir. We hope that our content brings you some knowledge and sometimes, some laughter and sometimes some sobering effects of what life is really, really like for, on the other side of the world that we have no idea what's happening or whatever. If you like the content, we'd love for you to subscribe to the channel. You all know what to do. Like, share, and follow us. Take a look at our other videos above and below. Those links are there. And I'll leave you with my final thought, which is when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.